Hey, Trey Lid, Victoria, CV, everybody, welcome to Encounters, the late night spiritual UFO talk show. I'm your host, CmdrAleon. Good to have everybody here with us on a beautiful Monday night. Everyone got through Monday, right? You got through Monday. Salty Bobs, welcome to the show. Judy Bowman, good to see you. Missy, that's the name of my cat. Marinee, Peace, Love, and Light, SJB. George Perez, welcome to the show. Everybody out there, wherever you are around the world, welcome. Scotty, I think it's to be running. WRTAZA 71, welcome. Andre, I think it's Andra Lee. Gary Hass, James, welcome to the show. Catherine, let's see, Tanka or something like that. We'll get it right. You're welcome to everybody coming in here. This is Encounters, the spiritual #1 UFO talk show on social media. I'm your host, CmdrAleon, host on Sunday mornings of the NPR Pacifica radio show, The Cosmic Eye, Ashtar Command Radio. Alaska Southern Belle, welcome. Me Seeks, yo, good to have you with us. Everybody coming in here is 022 Diago 2021. Chezno, thanks for the likes. Thank you, Me Seeks. Good to have you with us. User 155. Deborah, thank you for the roses. Aroka, welcome. Margaret Rushing, good evening, Margaret. David Schroeder, good evening. We're doing good, Alaska Southern Belle. Hope you're doing very well out there, Jan R. Stephen, good to see you, Steve. Cultural commentator, good to have you with us. Everybody out here. And we're going to be getting to a lot of stuff tonight. All kinds of stuff happening. We got some stuff to tell you. Anna, good to have you with us. Good evening. 022U. Denise, Best, welcome. 022, thanks for the likes. Hello, David. Welcome. Everybody out there, welcome. My moderators, I'm glad to see you here. And we have lots to get into. I had a great show last night. The show last night is on my YouTube channel. For anybody who's missed the show, all the shows are recorded here on TikTok, and then we're transferred over my YouTube channel, Ashtar Command Spaceship News. The show from last night was phenomenal. We had some great guests last night, and I'm sure tonight, whatever happens, we'll have some great guests. Brian, thanks for joining us, and good to have everybody with us. Zuzana Garcia, thanks for sharing it. Meeseeks, do you believe in Anunnaki theory? The Anunnaki are part of a galactic grouping, like other galactic beings, Palladians, people from the star system Sirius, and other galactic civilizations. They're one of many that have been here before. So, yeah, they do exist. I think it's Calusaurus. Hey, says I do. So welcome, everybody. Robert. Everybody, welcome to the show. Linda Lovely, welcome to the show. It's really important that people understand, if you're new to learning about the galactic levels of light, about civilizations, about who has been here before. There's been many, and I can continue saying the word many. There's been many different civilizations. There's some that are the Anunnaki, and many other civilizations have been here before. It's not like they're gone. Many of these civilizations are part of what's coming back in this time. So when we talk about, do I believe in reincarnation? I believe that when we leave this physical realm, great question, we go into our next light body. So it's like graduation, okay? When you graduate from this physical body, there's no such thing as death. I've talked about that before. Death is basically an earth-based illusion. But we leave our body, we now are able to go to the next body. So there's another you that's more elevated than the you that's here. The you that's here will get elevated, but there's another you that will be more elevated than the you that's here. What's up, Commander? Hope you're doing well. We're doing very good down southern. Good to have you with us. So when people actually elevate their frequency or their consciousness, their vibration, that is the most important thing you can do. However you do it, people do it elevating consciousness in many different ways. There's no one way to wake up. If there was only one way to wake up, we'd be in trouble. There's many different possibilities of how to wake up. The most important thing is to always go within yourself. Don't go without yourself, go within yourself. Too many people over the decades I've been alive have been going without themselves to try to find themselves when the one that they're looking for is right there inside themselves. So people go outside to find them, to find who they are, when in fact all of who you are is right inside you. But we live in a world where people just go out there. They're going out there trying to find who they are. When God created every single being in the universe with everything they need to know to understand who they are, right? Hey, Angelica, good to see you. And let me see here. 101. Let's see who that is. We're going to also bring Chezno on here. Chezno, my co-host. Chezno, good evening. How you doing, brother?
Hey, I'm great. How are you?
We're doing very well. Mercury Man, hello out there in Vermont. 101, welcome to the show.
Thank you, thank you.
And where are you, 101?
I'm in South Florida.
We have a lot of people in Florida that have sightings. Can you turn your camera on, or is that impossible?
Hold on.
And people are just coming in here. This is Encounters, the #1 spiritual UFO talk show here on social media.
See the palm trees?
I don't see anything except the picture of the account doesn't exist. It says, oh, there you go. Now we see the palm trees. Wow, that's beautiful, man. Really beautiful out there. It looks like the moon. Or something like that.
The moon's full moon tonight, you know. I've definitely seen things, but not here in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I take that back. Maybe something really quick that resembled one of the things I've seen in the past, just not as close.
Yeah, Florida is a hot spot for. I've had a lot of guests on here from Florida, and it is definitely a hot spot for. I call it spaceship activity.
Yeah. I recently read about, like, on Joe Rogan, he had a guest that pondered, it's part of his job. He was like a snake hunter, and he went to a missile silo, or an abandoned jet propulsion laboratory that's out in the Everglades, and a lot of weird things go on in Florida. But he ran across some satanic things there.
Ooh,
like
that's
ritual.
not good.
Yeah, like with some like ritual stuff that, and he had like a paranormal activity as well while he was on the site. But he found out that the site is owned by Jack Parsons, who Jack Parsons he had a relationship, a friendship with Aleister Crowley in the early.
Oh yeah, we want to try to stay away from that energy on the show because if we talk about it, things do happen, and I don't want that to happen. So let's keep those. We'll keep that information.
Well, I was just trying to mention that's closely related to like the UFO grays that people talk about.
Okay.
But
so what I do on my show
Florida,
is
there's that energy. That's all I wanted to say with that.
No, that's okay. I've actually I put an energy protection around the show before I went on, and so there's stuff happening here. This is very interesting. Evidently, I am attracting those that wish to go to the other side. I didn't know that was happening. So after my show's over, I have to do a certain spiritual thing to work with the angelic realm, and to have these beings that want to pass over. So they're being attracted to me, and I didn't even know it. We had two people here that were very, we know them very well, and they're spiritual people, and they own one of them owns a crystal shop here, which beautiful people, and the other one was able to feel the energies. So when I get done doing this show, I have to now. Evidently, I'm opening portals.
Right.
It's not my intention to do that, but evidently I'm able to do that without even wanting to do it. So I'm going to, at the end of the program, open a white doorway, or what you call a white doorway. I'll be off the air when I do it. Wow, that sounds like a jet or something. I'll be
Yeah,
opening a white doorway to let these beings be assisted by the angelic realm. I'm going to have the angels come, the Christed beings, the angels, assist them to move onward past this particular realm. So that's something now I have to do. I mean, I didn't know I had to do it. I had no idea I was actually opening portal, but they said there's nothing bad. It's just everything's good. It's just that I have to make sure that they can move on. So I've got other things I have to do. So that's another added thing I have to do that I didn't want to have to do, but now I have to do it. Now, eventually what will happen is...
Have you done this before?
Oh, I know what I'm doing. I've never had to do this before. The room I'm in now is going to be the room where all my crystals... I'm going to be doing this now because, I mean, I do every time I go on my show. Before I get on, I ask that the Christed beings of light and the Ashtar Command, which I work with, keep everything clear and that there's no interference with what we're doing. So now what I have to do is the room I'm in now is going to be where all the crystals, we're switching rooms. This room I'm in anyway is going to become the center of all the crystal energy. If you can believe how the energy is here now, with you should see all the crystals I have. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be beautiful. But we're moving rooms out to bring the energy into here. We have crystals everywhere in this house. But the main part of our meditation room is going to be here. So the energy frequencies are going to be different, which I'm very excited about.
I got a crystal on my neck.
Say again?
I got a crystal on my neck. Look.
Oh, yeah. What kind of crystal do you have?
An amethyst.
Oh, yeah. That's good. Amethyst is a really beautiful crystal. It has really beautiful energy. So now after I get off my show tonight, I'm going to do a closing off the air to assist people to the other side, which is something we did this once with another Ashtar Command group of people in Connecticut years ago. I know what to do. So hopefully once we get this all done and we start doing it, it's going to, we're just going to make sure that they go on the other side and move on to where they need to be. So that's one of the other things now that I have to understand. And I'm fine with it. I thought about it all day and I'll be fine with it, But anyway, that's a whole nother thing. Anyway, I just figured I'd mention that. The commander is definitely attracting, people that are not mean or anything. They need to move on, so we're going to help them do that. I guess that's part of the mission work, right? So welcome. And so when you are in Florida, are you on the southern coast of Florida, southeastern, southwestern, whereabouts?
On the southeastern.
Okay, so you're close. You're probably within the reaches of the Bermuda Triangle, correct?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Probably
yeah, you'll have
almost parallel, but a little off.
Yeah. So you're close enough. I mean, there's a lot of sightings in that part of the world down there, and there's increased sightings in Florida in general. So I'm always amazed. So where you used to be, you said you used to have sightings where you used to live. What kind of sightings did you have?
Well, I've had a lot of paranormal activity in general in my family growing up, but the sighting that I saw twice, probably 3 times, the last one actually being here in Florida, but that one was very vague and distant. But the first 2 are very personal, very up close. But I saw those glowing orbs of light that people film in the sky. Sometimes they show up in like formations, but I saw it just by itself twice. The first time, the coincidences that happened that led up to the sighting for both scenarios are even what makes it more interesting. And it makes me think that there's more to it, like as far as like a psychological nature to this whole phenomenon. I don't know. Anyway, I'll go on with the story. The first time I was 16, I think, and we were in Argentina, and we left this hotel that was like really creepy, straight from like a textbook horror movie, all wooden, nobody in it, and like this like old school butler with the the little black and white vest. Anyway, we left the room at like 3 in the morning because it was very weird, but someone had left something ringing in the rooms next to us the whole night. It was like the Simpson intro song, so we couldn't sleep, and we had to leave, and we left at like 3 in the morning with like 2 hours of sleep, 3 hours of sleep. Not even, we didn't even sleep. We got there like at midnight. My dad was like, all right, let's get on the road, and we got on the road just to go to the ski resort, and it was like a desolate backcountry road in Argentina. And my dad is Christian, we're Christian, but my stepmom is very atheist for the most part. But we woke up with my dad like, yelling at us because there was a big light behind us, and he said that light shot up from being like 5-10 miles away to right behind the car, like 15 feet.
Wow.
In like a second or two. So he woke us up freaking out because he's seen these things his whole life, so he knew exactly what it was. You know, they almost like followed him, and he was like telling us to pray, and I just remember the light, and it was very you know, like off guard for me, so I didn't really get a good mental picture, but I did see something behind us, and then it just flew away. But I was 16, and then when I was about 25, I was in Brazil again. This time I prayed, since I always talked about UFOs, since like my dad's seen them, it's like always something that, you know, is just a conversation topic for me, and I've always been fascinated by them, so I researched the phenomenon and abductions and sightings. Anyway, I ended up saying, like, because my brother was like, hey man, you should probably stop talking about this around like like the family and guests, or like we were talking to my cousins about it, and the cool thing is, like, we're very close to my family, so we could talk about anything. So we were just talking about it, and I like gave it some thought because he's told me this before, like maybe you should just, you know, pray more about, you know, like focus on the good, not the negative or the scary. And I said, okay, God, can you make one of these things appear so I could like can confirm that, like, you know, for A, it's real, B, I'm not, you know, gonna look up the shit anymore and just stop, like drop the topic. So it literally showed up within a week, like 5 days later. And here's the eerie part: I was with that same cousin, and we were just hanging out, you know, late in like 3 to 4 in the morning. We both, you know, are very coherent. We drink, we smoke, like our whole life. So it's not like because we drank and smoked we saw this, but we were drinking, smoking. He's a neurosurgeon, you know. And anyway, I I remember he was like, hey man, I'm gonna go to Europe and you're gonna be gone by the time I come back, so let's go to this place where these UFOs are known to show up. Let's go camping there. And in the middle of saying that, we were having this like full conversation about going camping next weekend. It shows up, and this time it was like 300 feet above the water, this perfect sphere of light. Yeah, and we were sitting on this dock, like it was like some guy, like a very rich person's dock. The guy had like a Miami mansion, like, but he was at home, and we were just chilling at his dock, like. And for one, I was like, okay, maybe someone shot this huge light into the air. So I looked around to see if there was like somebody with like a flare gun. There was no noise.
You're trying to verify it,
Yeah, I was trying to verify really quick. I did this really fast. I'm like, there's no noise. It's very close. It was like 300 feet above us, but in the middle of the lake. And it was about the size of like a beach ball to like maybe like a small car, but it was mainly like, it was smaller. But it had like a weird light to it because it glowed, but it didn't have like a shine. It didn't emit a light. It was an internal light. And
reminds me of one of those metallic spears.
Well, no, it was just a perfect orb of light. It was yellow, orangish. And I remember looking at my cousin. I'm like, yo, you seen that? And he's like, yeah. And we both looked at it. And as it was falling, it started to fall at like near free fall, but not. So it was kind of hovering down. And it all happened in like 10, 15 seconds. But I'm just telling you exactly how I processed it. And it turned from a perfect sphere of light to like about 10 feet before it hit the ground. It turned into like a streak of light. And it like went, but it didn't do anything.
It took off. It was gone or whatever.
It went into the water.
So it went into the water. So let me ask you a question. As you think back about that experience, and this is Encounters, the #1 late night UFO spiritual talk show on social media. Chezno's my co-host, and we have 101 with us. So since that period of time, and those things happen, have you? Do you know how to focus on positive ET contact? When I say ET contact, for me, it's very important. I hear stories to show people. Do you know? Did you feel a sense like it was okay, like this?
No, I felt so scared when it happened that I got up and I told my cousin, I was like, dude, let's go. He was more like, hey, man, this is a beautiful thing we just witnessed. Like, this is our moment. I'm like, dude, I literally had a prayer not even a week ago, to want to see this. And it shows up. And, like, in the middle of the conversation, like, we attracted it in a way.
Right. So do you think that you were, like, so it's interesting. So he was not afraid of what was going on, correct?
No, he's way more of a, like, easygoing, mellow,
easygoing. He was very mellow. You on the other, you were kind of freaking out when this happened, correct?
I'm freaking out just talking about it. Yeah, I freak out all the time. This literally made my heart race, like.
Right. So I think when I hear stories, I also help people. I'm glad you came on. Is one of the things you need to learn to do is not freak out, but just use discernment. So, for example, when you want to see, what you did is you telepathically communicated out to some non-terrestrial group of beings that appeared in this particular non-terrestrial intelligent type craft.
Yeah, that's what I kind of got scared about. Is I knew that as I was seeing, so I was scared.
Right. No, you were scared, and that's okay. I mean, that's human nature, to be scared of something that's unknown to you, that you've never experienced. So I'm going to help you here. When you now proceed in Florida to want to have contact, be calm. Always, I want you to learn how to call in the Christed beings of light. It's really important that anyone out there that does this, that you really know what you're doing.
Oh no, I'm not doing any of it. I'm good. I don't want to see anything.
You don't want to say anything, but you just might, even though you don't want to see anything, you really don't have control of that. If they want to connect with you, you need to learn how not to be afraid. That's your thing. There's a lot of fear there that you need to get over, and that should be a fear thing.
Their nature is misleading. Their nature is misleading, and communication with an entity that has a different type of intellect that supersedes even anything that's imaginable, let alone
and Noel is right.
Like here in our physical realm, like these things come in and out of. They're interdimensional. They read thoughts. Like
right, but the thing is,
they know more about you than your family, and they know about your whole ancestry. Like they've been around.
Right, they've been around, but they might be connected with you, who might be connected with them. What I'm trying to say is, I've been in this deal for
they get attracted to energy. So like we were focusing on them heavy, and I've always been hyperfixated on them. So they definitely want to be known and be seen to people who are searching. But as far as being able to trust if it's a nefarious,
you'll know if I'm trying to teach you. But I'm trying to teach you something, because I know I've been around a lot longer than you have. I've been around since the '60s. I've seen many sightings since the '60s. I've had contact since the '60s with positive ET beings. So I'm trying to help you here. So the thing is, if it happens again, I'm trying to help you understand. You have to use discernment. There are beings from other spiritual realms that are really beautiful people, but you don't know that because you've never experienced that.
My mom said she experienced seeing, an angel, like it's depicted in the most, traditional way, like from Bibles and stuff, like an ancient soldier from like either Rome or Greece with a full armor, but he was like 9 to 10 feet tall, and it was at her bedpost. When she was praying one night when they were at a campfire, all like my mom and my dad like met at a very young age. Both of them have all seen these phenomenons their whole life, especially around my dad's life. But since Brazil is like a hot spot for these things, especially where I'm at or where I was from. Yeah, it happened even more. But they were camping, and she was scared to go to bed because she left the campfire to go to like the cabin that was like pretty desolate and dark. And when she like was laying in this bed, inside the cabin, and I was in her arms. She said she prayed like, and she would like open her eyes, and there was this angel, and she was like, "No, I'm trying to go to sleep." Like she was really scared. She didn't want to like look at it, so she like closed her eyes and opened again. It was still there. Like it wasn't going away. She was really scared, but it was like translucent, and it actually had human nature. You know, like it looked like a person, not a disfigured or a scary shadow or a but there are things that do look really wild. So
so one of the things is, and there's a reason why you're here on my show, you're you know, whether you believe it or not, it doesn't matter, you're here. What I'm trying to tell you is that what you need to do, you're the only one who can do it. No one can force you to do anything. What I'm trying to teach you to do is, if you do have an encounter, ask them, are they Christed beings of light? And this has nothing to do with religion. This has to do with the cosmic Christ. For people out there that don't know what I'm talking about, listen and learn, because what I'm teaching is something really, really important. If you have a contact, or if you decide you want to learn how to do CE5, which is called contact with extraterrestrial intelligence, listen to what I'm saying. Let me finish.
I wouldn't recommend doing that, boys and girls.
Let me finish what I'm saying one-on-one. I've been doing this for years. What I'm saying to you is, you have so much fear. I feel the energy in you.
It's just so the level of intellect these entities have surpassed even like questionable understanding. Like we can't even begin to understand the questions we would ask. Like the AIs that we're creating are similar to these.
Well, Commander's trying to explain to you. Just let Commander just say this real quick.
Yeah. What I'm saying to you, forget everything you've read about on internet websites, everything you're reading about AI, forget all that stuff. Throw it out the window. What I'm trying to teach is one simple rule. It's the most important thing you can learn. You need to be able to understand there are different spiritual beings from other planetary systems that are here, that are connected with. There are people on here that have connections with Palladians, people from the star system Sirius. They're not better
they're not
than
from
you.
any planet.
Let me. No, you're not listening to me. You're not listening to me. There are beings from other planetary systems. Yes, they are there. You're saying no, they're not. I know they're there. I've had contact. I know that.
That's just an illusion. They're interdimensional.
Okay.
Like I said, they read thoughts. They impregnate thoughts in the mind.
Okay. I guess this is not going to go anywhere. So we're going to have to end it, man.
You can't talk to people that are going to listen. It's just pointless.
If they don't listen to have a conversation, if they want to have a conversation, how could you have a conversation with somebody that all talks about interdimensional? That's all they're telling, they don't want to hear anything else. You can't help somebody understand the whole gamut of the universe if all they're going to do is keep going in that mode of thinking, And okay, that's it. So, I gave that person a chance, and we see where they're going is certainly not here. So, I was thinking we were going to have this great conversation, but it wasn't going that way. So they're out, they're gone. The commander just blocked them out of the communications room.
Nice.
I listen enough. I give people a chance no one can say I'm not patient to hear somebody, but when I hear the energy going in the negative direction, that's it. They're gone. Okay? On to the next, as they would say. We tried, and Chezno knew what was happening. I'm looking at Chezno.
I'm looking at you. I'm smiling. I'm like, this isn't going anywhere.
It's not happening. But, I tried my best, and most times it works pretty good. Most people are pretty open to learning. When you're not willing to learn and you're based your whole life on fear, and that person's energy is all based on fear, that's why they're stuck. They're living in a fear-based energy, so they can't get forward to knowing the difference because they're in fear. How could you deal with anything if you're going to live in fear of the things that you don't know?
I don't let fear dictate my life, and I know you don't either.
I know. I won't.
Yeah.
I've been around this cosmic block too many times. I'm not like a beginner. And you're not
exactly.
either, Chezno. I know that, And I know many of you out there aren't, So, yeah, it's what it is. And just to let people know, speaking of things, Friday night, which is really going to be interesting, we're going to be doing a special event, which I've created an event tonight. So it's on TikTok. It's already on my channel here. We're going to be doing an event with Godico, the space being from the Sirius star system, and that's going to be Friday night. We're going to be on at 11 p.m. With John Connors, and we're going to be bringing in our space brother, Godico. So that's going to be exciting, and I think we're going to have some great communications. Hopefully, learn a few things more from the space people. And this is not channeled. They're going to be coming through radio frequency. You know what? I got a story to tell everybody. Today I was on TikTok. I went on this woman. She's in Denmark. So she's talking about evolution. Now, I don't believe in evolution. I got on there and I didn't debate her. I tried to explain to her about contact with space people. I gave her my background. She was talking about evolution. I said, no, there's no evolution. I said, humans didn't evolve from amoebas. I said, we came from the stars. She had a problem with that. But I kept on going. And by the time I left, I had 224 people that liked what I was saying. She had a room of like maybe over 300 people, right? So I just said, like you said, you're talking about possibilities. So is it possible, if you're talking about things are possible, that it is possible that there are beings that come from other planets? You used the word possible. And when, I was really enjoying it because I was like really getting my point across. And then I, finally left. I said, I thanked her. I was, polite and everything. I said, I just made my point. I was trying to let people know that this whole thing, this whole matrix of the whole thing of evolution from an amoeba or an ape is just totally limited consciousness.
That's false indoctrination when they changed the books and what they wanted us. Evolution would take, if it was real, would take eons, millions of years. Like we were Homo erectus within 200,000 years. That's just way too quick. It's just physically impossible.
Yeah, physically impossible. You're absolutely correct. So I'm like, she was like kind of tongue twisted a little bit because she was trying to say, well, you're talking about radio frequencies. It could be just another human. I said, no, it's not. Yeah, it is humanoid, human, but not on Earth. It's humanoid, human, I said, from off planet on a spaceship.
Genetic splicing of our genes a few thousand years ago.
Right.
Definitely.
Right. It's unbelievable. So there are times when I just said, should I go on somebody's TikTok like that and get into it? Because they're talking about evolution. So I jumped into the boat, stayed in there, and a lot of people agreed with me. So I was like, wow, I really did educate a few people. Let's see here. Who do we have here? Let's see. Down the rabbit hole. We'll get him in first. Down the rabbit hole. James, good evening, brother.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Encounters with CmdrAleon.
Yes. And we also have to bring in Grace. We're going to have to bring in Grace. We got the crew here tonight. We got, I always put a protection on the show now, so we have the Ashtar Command and my brothers and sisters of light on the ships protecting the whole area, the whole house, everything.
The gang's all here.
Hey, Grace. Hey, Grace. We got Chezno here.
James, what's up, buddy?
And we got everybody out there. All these great people.
I was in that live
with
Chezno earlier. We were watching this Palladian, and she was
Slalian.
She was a Slalian.
There's this woman that dresses up in a green costume, and she dances to music, and looking like a green ET. It's hilarious.
Serious?
I shared it with you, Grace. I shared it with you. Check your messages.
Okay, I will.
I shared it with you and James.
Hey, Deborah. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
It must have been funny. Yeah, it must have been funny.
I didn't see that.
Well, somebody told me that John Connors was coming in here, but I haven't seen him yet. But if he's in here, he will be in here.
Hey guys, so we have a guy that jogs down the street with a Superman costume every morning.
That's awesome.
He's jogging in 30-degree weather in a Superman cape.
I would love to see that. We need more people like that. That would make my day.
I think
Brady
I'm going to take a
Pro is
video
in
of
the
it.
chat, wants to come on up.
Okay, and Angel Hoffman says, I think Angel says that John Connors is coming in.
Yeah, I was
don't
in
know
his
where he
live.
is.
Yeah, he
John
was
on
doing
tonight?
something. He was, I was just in his live before yours. He was working on building something. I think the portal, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I want to talk about the portal for people that don't know what we're going to do. You know, I've got to say this. It's going to be the most craziest thing you've ever heard of. John and I are going to be coordinating activity where I am here in Connecticut, and I'm going to be at a location. He's going to come through a portal from Arizona at his home, and he's going to come over here in a nanosecond. We're going to broadcast it live on TikTok, and you're going to see him come right here. He's not going to take a jet or plane or anything. He's going to physically come right here through a portal, and we're going to actually meet each other, and I'll show you him standing next to me on the show. Now, how's that for something?
Guy's a genius.
John Connor comes through a damn portal, I swear to Bob, he better come here next.
Well, he has to get the coordinates, James. I mean, he has to get the
Meowser said he is coming soon. She was just in his live.
Hope he ends up like pinpoint somewhere near, like,
well, let's get
somewhere in Connecticut.
Let's get Brady Crow in here before John Connor gets in.
Now, I know that if he has the portal open, I probably can walk across it right to his house in Arizona. My family's going to be like, what is he doing? They'd be like, what's going on?
There's only one way to walk across the portal.
Where's my husband? Where, my daughter, and now you call him on the cell phone. I'm over here on TikTok in Arizona, but I'll come back in a minute.
It's so funny how our families are like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, Tank is hearing static. There's some static coming in. Do you hear static? A little bit of static. I don't think the space being is with us, but I can be completely wrong right now, because there, who knows, but if Godico wants to come in here, he will speak. Someone has a little bit of static, so maybe he will use the static of somebody else's phone or something.
I think it's James.
Okay.
Yeah, James,
maybe James is bringing the static.
It's not me tonight. I got a brand new phone this morning. Mine, I thought it broke. I was like, I got to get a new phone. So brand spanking new.
And I have a brand new phone too, actually. I did get myself one finally after years and years.
Yeah,
I'm in the rabbit hole, so there might be a little static.
And Brady, welcome to the show. Brady was with us. Brady, hey, good evening, brother, and everybody else. I think Globeron, I think it was, who was on from England the other night. Welcome, Globeron, if I'm pronouncing that correct.
Brady says he's a space being.
Yes, and we all are.
I'm a space being.
Yeah.
Wasn't there?
You're in the right place, Brady.
You're in the right place always here on Encounters. It's just really a beautiful thing.
About that, a space being, or was Space Cowboy, right? I think.
Space Cowboy. That was what was the singer's name?
Oh man, I know.
I'm a Space Cowboy. That was
like Rhinestone Cowboy.
Oh, I know what you mean. You're talking about Steve Miller Band?
Steve Miller Band. He wrote that song. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I think that's it.
I also have my app here. I was told I plugged in the app here. I'm not saying the name of it because it'll go on.
Yeah.
But I'm supposed to, when I go off the show, I'm supposed to use meditation music to allow for the beings that want to pass on into the light that are waiting to go. I have to send them off and ask the angelic realm to assist me in the Christ of beings. So after I get off, you won't know I'm doing this. Well, I'm going to do it, but I'm not doing it now. But when I get off, I have to do this. Evidently, I attract a lot of people passing over that want to go into the light, but they're stuck. So that's another thing I have to do now. So it's a whole story. It all happened today. It's just a whole story behind it. And evidently, when I'm opening a portal. It's not negative, but evidently, when I communicate with the space being, it's allowing for other things to happen, and we have to get them to move on after the show. So, yeah. And I'm fine with that. I was thinking about how do I do that. So I'm fine with that,
Yeah. Wonder if
just,
anyone else has any UFO stories down there. Anybody want to come up?
Mhm. Are there any people out there in the world that have a story to tell? Visitations, contact, you name it. Yup says, yup. Does that yup mean you have a story to tell us? I have 3. Okay, so we're going to bring in, we'll show you how to extract gold from my pen. Okay, let's see. We have, how do you pronounce that? Afraid leet sheep. Let me see what that is. And if you can, turn on your camera. Oh, we lost James. He disappeared.
He's down the rabbit hole.
He went down the rabbit hole. We'll bring. Who do we got here? I'm bringing 2 people. I'm bringing 2 people on here. We have Brady. Hey, Brady. And we also have. How do you pronounce your name? I can't understand what the pronunciation is.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Oh yeah, we
Yep.
can. And can you tell us your first name, because I can't understand what that name is.
Yes, it is actually Georgi Valerievich Petulov is my whole name, but it's just you can call me Georgi or George.
But
Most
I'll
people
just
call
call
me
you
George.
George sounds good. And we have
George
Brady.
it is.
And George, welcome to the show. Where are you right now on the planet? You're watching Encounters Late Night
I am
UFO
in
Talk
North
Show.
Carolina, east coast of North Carolina, right by Riceville Beach area.
Okay. So tell us, a little bit about your background, what's going on involved in this subject matter.
So I was sponsored by an Episcopalian church at the age of 7 with my family, and this is my second language. I went to the American Boy Choir School in Princeton on a full scholarship for 4 years, and I'm a singer. And the first time I actually saw a UFO was with a buddy of mine. We were, I had just finished I was in the Wilmington Boys Choir before I had auditioned for the American Boy Choir, but I had just finished a concert, and him and I were looking at his new telescope. And at one point, I was just joking around saying, look, a UFO, but it was just a plane. And literally, not but like 2 minutes after, what we both saw were like these 4 lights that were like in a square, and it looked like something that first looked to be out of control, and it was headed towards our direction, and it looked like it might have even crashed, like almost like the sun that had already set was maybe perhaps shining the lights from up above and still creating some light from that. But at one point, all 4 of the lights just stopped, froze, and that's when I was like, "What the fuck?" And I was only 9 years old at the time, so I kind of freaked out. But right after they stopped, it shot back up into the sky, and he went inside that night, and I went home and I cried to my parents. They thought I was absolutely nuts. But I also, after I graduated from the boy choir, I moved to Las Vegas, and on the move, saw like this, what looked like to be this object that was spherical. Well, first it was spherical in nature. It looked like something like a Pokemon ball, and it was a solid object, and it looked like it had like some sort of a lens thing that was like rotating in the middle. It looked like it was scanning for something, was the feeling I was getting out of this thing. But and it was moving from left to right, and I was going down the highway off of Oklahoma, crossing to the Texas border, and there were a bunch of like chemtrail looking things up in the sky. It was almost like they were trying to seal whatever was going up there. Well, at one point, this thing, whatever it was, I actually pulled over with my roommate that I was driving to Las Vegas with. We're making this long move to start a new life. But and as a musician, I was looking forward to that in my early 20s. But yeah, like it was nuts, because this thing, when we stopped, we pulled out his binoculars that he had. He had these nice large binoculars. They were like army style too. Well, we looked through them, and this thing, you can literally see it was rotating, and then it literally somehow it like turned from solid object to two cylindrical glowing, like
Hmm.
translucent objects that were
Wow.
like side by side of each other. That looked kind of like the number 11, but it was up in the sky, and then like all of a sudden shot behind the clouds, and
Wow.
we're both waiting for it to come out, and it never came out. But that was the first
Interesting.
time that we
Yeah.
witnessed something. Then the second time was when we got to Las Vegas. It was in the apartments. Because we were at like a weekly place at first, but then we got like a monthly place when we got settled there
Yeah.
with better jobs, and he was outside smoking a cigarette, and I was outside just talking, and it was both of our days off. It was a nice, beautiful, sunny day, and it was around 5 o'clock. Like it was maybe 2-3 more hours of light, but it was around summer of 2013, I believe. Was the year? It might be either 2012 or 2013, but we saw what looked like a flock of objects, and I ran and grabbed the binoculars from his in his closet, and when I looked, I saw what looked like what looked to be these square gray objects, and they're like the gray object was the squares were like on their corner, and they're all like going from side to side, kind of like it looked like they were bouncing off of like some invisible looking wall or something, almost like it was just the most nuts. And there were about maybe 20-30 of them, a whole flock of them, and and so this was like off of the balcony, and I told him to grab the video camera because I wanted to record it. This is before when you still had the flip phones in 2012.
Oh yeah, the flip phones. Yeah, I remember
this
those.
Is like right before I got the smartphone, so
yeah.
I couldn't really I wouldn't have been able to zoom in like that, but but like, yeah, when you look through the binoculars, you can really make out the shape. With the naked eyes, you could not see that like gray, squarish object.
Yeah.
You could just kind of see something like a bird or something, or maybe balloons. But when you looked at them, they were what was crazy was I didn't actually see this with my naked eye, but because he had the binoculars at the time, and he actually saw them disappearing. He said they didn't disappear like they would just vanish. They would just pop away into nothing. But he said it's like as if they went from left to right, and they would disappear from like they would go behind the sky. In other words, and just they would go into another dimension effortlessly without any effort at all. And that to me, I sense probably would be more. It might be military technology, but it sounds more otherworldly. But who knows? Who knows? I'm open to anything.
The latter thing you said, otherworldly, would be more correct than Earth-based technology.
Yeah,
but what they do is they have vibrational frequencies. The space people, their ships operate on vibrational patterns. So when you tell a story, it's great because when you talk how they just blinked out. When they blink out like that, they're blinking out into another dimensional frequency.
Yeah, and they didn't do that. They what he described was they had like vanished from, because since they were moving like from left to right or up and down, they were all going like just different directions. But at one point, they're all like kind of flying together, kind of like in a flock pattern. And they were sort of almost going behind the roof, so I had to go down the stairs, and I told him to go grab the camera. So when I went down the stairs and I looked up, they had all disappeared, all in the clear sky. There's no clouds, not a single cloud in the sky.
They're gone, right? Yeah.
Completely just vanished by the time I got down the stairs. It's almost like they did not want me to record, see, or nothing. It's like
that's interesting. Some people, you're not, George, you're not the first one that said this. Some people have tried to record the spaceships. I call them spaceships because they are from other places. When they want you to see them, you personally, and I
have actually recording of one I've taken on 4th of July, by the way.
Oh, you do? Okay. So sometimes they want you to see them, but they don't want you to record them for whatever reason, and that's fine if that's what they don't want you to do. But there are times when they do want you to record them, depending on the space beings. They'll say, we want you to let people know we're here so you can record us. So, but I think they want you both to have just a personal experience with them, wherever they're from. So that's pretty cool.
It was definitely transcending. I mean, ever since then just really began to just look for information that has led me on a pretty interesting rabbit hole. But at the end of the day, you know, I try to be open-minded yet stay skeptical at the same time. I think it's the healthiest form.
Oh yeah, I mean, you have to be. I mean, put it this way: I've had direct contact with space people when I was a kid. If you never heard my story, and for those that haven't, my first encounter with physical space beings that wore light blue space outfits that were beautiful, men, women, and children on a flying saucer, was when I was a kid. That was my first encounter. So after that happened, I started having. I'd see things in the night. At 3 a.m, I'd see fireball green spaceships going over the night sky. I would see all kinds of stuff. So this happened for you. I mean, I've had many sightings.
Have you ever been able to control them with your mind? Like I was able to in front of my mom. Like I was we have a jacuzzi in the backyard, and when I was visiting my parents, my mom and I were in the jacuzzi, and because my mom, she's a huge skeptic, and she was an engineer in the Soviet Union days, and went to like St. Petersburg University, got like top of her class, all that good stuff. But she's very skeptical, and I was showing her this like what looked like to be a ball of glowing light, and at one point it looked like it was traveling just in just a straight line, but I told it in my mind, make a right right now, and it all of a sudden made a 90-degree turn and made a right. And when that happened, she looked at me like I was like some sort of a witch, like I was like trying to cast a spell or something. It was just,
oh gosh,
it was like, I mean, she to her, she just couldn't believe her eyes. She didn't know if I was like just some evil, crazy, cursed person, like, and just making her hallucinate. I mean, her last thing is that she wouldn't even believe her eyes if she said that it was a plane. She said it was an airplane to her,
oh yeah,
or a helicopter or something. I'm like, helicopters make noise.
Yeah, when it's real, George. Like sometimes parents, your mom, obviously, you might internally know what you're seeing is real,
but she has cognitive
can't.
dissonance. It's cognitive dissonance for sure.
Oh, really? Yeah. But it's okay. I mean, there's always that family member that doesn't believe, and they're skeptical, even if it's real. And you just have to go with it and just realize, okay, they don't. That's where they are. But I'm going on another journey.
Just the way it looked, it was more than just doing that. It was doing other things, and she just couldn't believe what was happening. But I've had about 3 or 4. I've had one other experience where I saw a black triangle at the beach one time.
Oh,
when
really?
our family was out, and my dad was really drunk. He doesn't remember this, but he's the one who pointed it out to me, and I looked up. I saw this black thing that was flying by really fast across the sky from right to left, and it looked like maybe a bird, except it wasn't a bird. It was much further away, and it was just a straight line, as straight could be, and it was from right to left. Just and I was waiting for, because it was going so fast that I was waiting for some sort of a sonic boom or something, because from the way it was going at least like 4,000 miles an hour. I mean, it was just going way above 850, I believe, 850 miles an
hour. Made no noise, right? Zero noise.
Zero noise, and I was waiting for the sonic boom, because I'm used to, I've seen real, fighter jets and how fast they go, so I'm used to seeing those types and their sonic booms, and so this was nothing like it. It was way different.
Yeah, that's definitely some of those those spaceships. Their technology is so far advanced that in a nanosecond, 1 minute you see them, bam, they're gone. It's like they can be point A to point B in like 3 seconds.
Like good luck pulling out a camera on that and trying to show the world. It's just not going to happen.
No,
but this was still back in 2013. But I did capture what was to be like an orb or something, but I don't know what it is. It could be like a drone or something. I mean, I'm always open to things. It's our eyes, they say just whatever you see, believe in half of what you see and none of what you hear, or something like that. So I kind of try to go with that.
Well, you're ahead of the ball game that you're actually seeing specific things. Like one of the things about this show is I'm like a cosmic book, and those that know me, because of my experiences, there's still a lot of things I'm learning being on this planet. But I also know that I've been around the block a few times on this journey, and I've seen many things. And a lot of people here have seen many things too that are watching this. I know that. And so we're on this journey together. We're all on this journey together. It's not like anyone's exclusive to it.
Absolutely.
We're just, and that's the beautiful thing about this show. When I started it, I've been doing radio for over 20 years on this subject. I've been involved with the CE5 for over probably 10 years now in Connecticut with contact with extraterrestrial intelligence. I work with space beings within the Ashtar Galactic Command before there was any internet. I've been working with space beings that are Christ consciousness beings of light. So I don't work with anything that is of low vibration at any low vibrational patterns. And I'm very aware of people's energies. So I'm very well versed in my subject matter. I mean, Grace and Chezno know me, and they know that. And a lot of people here know me from watching the show for over a year since I've been on TikTok. So this is all real here.